There are literally thousands of football teams in England, ranging from your local Sunday League side, where Big Gary from the pub, who's wearing a medium shirt but really should be wearing an extra large at least, plays, all the way up to the top division, the Premier League. There have been 51 different teams in the league's history, ranging from ever-presents like Arsenal and Everton, right down to sides who bounce around the lower league divisions like a pinball, teams like Swindon Town and Oldham Athletic. As you can tell, this means that a lot of sides have never made it to the peak of English football and have only been able to play in front of their fans in the lower divisions since the Premier League's inception in 1992. And today, we are going to look at some of the biggest teams to have never made this trip upwards. Welcome to Good Sport Reviews. My name is Lewis, and this is 10 teams that have never played in the Premier League. And we never want you to miss a video from us, so please make sure to hit subscribe and let's try and get to 1,000 before the end of the year. Thank you very much. Number 10, Tranmere Rovers. For 3 seasons in a row from 1992 to 1995, Tranmere Rovers reached the playoff semi-finals and lost each and every one of them. Jesus Christ, take the hint, guys. There's no room at the Premier League in. The Super White Army would technically be considered a local rival to Merseyside teams Liverpool and Everton, with the club residing in Birkenhead, literally a bus ride away from both Anfield and Goodison Park. But because they have not gotten higher than League One since 2001, they haven't been able to play these sides very often, and have instead had to make due to the likes of Crewe Alexandra and Chester FC. The club have a staggered history in the lower divisions, going as low as 6th in the National League in 2016 to competing in the EFL Trophy Final in 2021, losing it to Sunderland. Despite coming close to promotion those several times and boasting former Premier League players like Jay Spearing and RB Leipzig goalkeeper Peter Golaski, the 1999-2000 League Cup runners-up have never been able to gather enough momentum to rise through the divisions and reach the Premier League. Number 9, Millwall. Back in the late 80s, Millwall played their only 2 top-flight seasons in England, finishing 10th and 20th with goals from a young Teddy Sheringham, making history for the Lions. However, since the Premier League's creation in 1992, the rivals to the Green Street Elite have never been able to spend a season in it and instead bounced between League Two and the Championship on multiple occasions, with the latest campaign ending in a 13th place finish in the Championship. The side have came close a couple of times, the most recent being in the 22-23 season, where they lost 4-3 to Blackburn, missing out on a playoff spot despite leading the match 3-1 at half time. And since then, a lot of fans have questioned whether or not they will be able to fight again for promotion. The Den is a lively ground with a rabid fan base, and a Premier League season with the prospect of 2 Dockers derbies would be incredible, with the 2 London sides not playing each other since they met in the Championship in 2012. Number 8, Notts County. Nottingham Forest have been in the Premier League now for 2 seasons straight, spending a boatload of money on a magnitude of players, some of whom are incredibly talented. So spare a thought for their local rivals, Notts County, who have never spent a minute in the top flight and have spent 4 seasons in the National League. The 1894 FA Cup winners have been League One and League Two regulars for a long time and have enjoyed highlights such as the first place finish in 2010, picking up an incredible 93 points. But despite this, the oldest professional football club in world football have never tasted promotion into the Premier League, and to be honest, they haven't even come close, spending the first 3 seasons of the top division's lifespan in the Championship and being relegated in 1997, pushing them further from the promised land and making it difficult for the club to gather enough steam for a sustained push. Number 7, Plymouth Argyle. This season, Plymouth Argyle have enjoyed their best league finish since they finished 10th in the Championship during the 07-08 campaign. However, that doesn't mean it's been all smooth sailing, do you get it? While they've ensured Championship survival, they are yet to ever secure Premier League promotion, and the Pie-Faced Brigade have never played in the top flight of English football and have actually been promoted and relegated 11 times since the league change in 92, with the club mainly bouncing between Leagues 1 and 2 before their Championship promotion in 2023. The EFL Cup runner-ups in that year have boasted players like Bradley Wright-Phillips and Sylvain Ebanks-Blake, but they have never had someone who can fire them into the top flight, with their highest goal scorer being Steve Castle, who scored 22 during the 93-94 campaign. One day, we may see the Pilgrims in the Premier League, but there is still some work to do before we get there. Number 6, Preston North End. Preston North End just feel like a side who were made for the Premier League, but in actuality, the side have only ever reached the playoffs 4 times and failed to gain promotion in any of them. After those 4 times, they were relegated in 2010-11 in 22nd place and spent the next 4 seasons in League One before being promoted back to the Championship in 2015-16, where they've remained for the past 9 seasons, finishing mid-table in all but one of them. There is no doubting the club's credentials with talented players like David Nugent, Joe Gardner and Scott Sinclair playing for the club in recent years, but they need to break their mid-table streak and start pushing the clubs higher up the Championship table for those promotion spots, or at the very least the playoff places. And while they've not played in the Premier League yet, it feels like a matter of time before it happens. Number 5, AFC Wimbledon. The history of AFC Wimbledon is fascinating to say the least. Back in 1992, when the Premier League was formed, the original Wimbledon side were one of the first teams to play in the division and spent 8 seasons in the top flight before being relegated in 2000 in 18th place. However, the worst was yet to come as the club relocated to Milton Keynes in 2002 and were rebranded MK Dons in 2004, which caused the club to renounce its history under the former name and fans to split away from the side to form AFC Wimbledon. Since this brave decision, the club have been promoted 6 times in 13 seasons and currently compete in the EFL League 2, with their most recent campaign ending in a 10th place finish under manager Johnny Jackson. While the old Wimbledon have a cherished patch in England's top division, having played as high as 6th in 1994, the current side have not returned to the Premier League, and it seems unlikely they will make a significant push for it to happen given their recent league finish. Number 4, Bristol City. One of the largest cities in England, Bristol City have one of the best groups of supporters in the country and have given consistent mid-table Championship finishes for the past near decade. The side have not been in the top flight since 1980, and since their relegation, they have bounced between Leagues 1 and 2 and the Championship. And despite them finishing as high as 8th in the latter in 2019, the Robins have never made any sustained push to get back to the top flight. The 1909 FA Cup runner-ups have had some talented players over the years, and there are a lot of people who could argue they are one of the biggest clubs to never play in the top division. And while this is certainly true, they are still in a very stable position, with their Championship finishes keeping them safe in the division for the past 9 seasons. And with some smart investment and players like Tommy Conway hitting some form, there is no reason to say we won't see Bristol City make a debut campaign in the Premier League. Number 3, Gillingham. From 2013 to 2022, Gillingham were a League One regular side and had a variety of different league finishes, with 9th place being the highest and their relegation campaign in which they finished 21st being the lowest. However, one thing they have never done is compete in the Premier League, and the side, which has boasted players like Steve Bruce and Mark Bentley, has never even looked like progressing through the ranks. With the club at points looking too good for League 2 but not good enough for League 1, they have seen multiple promotions and relegations, preventing them from advancing higher than the previously mentioned League 1, and a constant chopping and changing of managers hasn't helped the situation either, with the club going through 6 managers since 2019. One day we may see the former Southern League Cup winners reach the top division, but we're still a long way away from it even being mathematically possible. Number 2, Northampton Town. There are definitely people who will be looking at this entry and questioning why a club that hasn't come higher than 4th place in League 1 since 1992 would be on the list, and to be honest, there isn't a particular reason, but Northampton Town have never been in the top flight and it makes the list, so yeah. Over the past 10 seasons, the Cobblers have been promoted 3 times and relegated twice, with the former home of Akinfenwa currently occupying 14th place in the 4th tier of English football. The Southern League champions of 1909 may well have shown progress in Leagues 1 and 2 in recent seasons, but they still haven't been able to gain entry into the Championship and need to stick by John Brady if they want to continue their progression higher through the ranks. The Premier League is a dream for a lot of clubs, and while it may seem like a distant hope for Northampton, they may definitely one day occupy one of the 20 spots in the top flight. Number 1, Crewe Alexandra. For the last entry on the list, we've picked Crewe Alexandra, a side who have flirted with the Championship but have never been able to progress out of the division. Back in 2003, the 2013 Football League Cup trophy winners gained promotion into the Championship, which they would remain in for 3 seasons before being relegated in 22nd place on 42 points. Since then, they have yo-yoed between Leagues 1 and 2, with their most recent campaign ending in a 6th place finish in the latter. And while this finish was impressive, it still wasn't enough to gain promotion after losing to Crawley Town 2-0 in the playoff finals. They are a side who may not have had a long spell in the Championship, but they have a wide fan base and have had talented players in their ranks in the past, and surely the club has ambitions of playing in England's top flight one day, and who knows, maybe it will happen. Maybe it'll happen for a lot of clubs on this list. And that is the video. If you are new around here, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. We want to try and get to 1,000 by the end of the year, so let's see if we can make that happen. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.